Good evening, and welcome to the Town Hall Get to Know broadcast. We appreciate that you're taking time to come and join us this evening. We have a very special guest this evening, Mr. Adam Duval. I've talked and interviewed Adam a couple times in the past. He's been on some of my morning broadcasts, the Sunrise Daybreakers Tribe. I used to call him this. This is my nickname, the dyspraxic champion. He is my dyspraxic champion, but he has progressed from the dyspraxic champion, which he is. But he is now a mental health warrior, and I'm really proud to have him this evening. This broadcast is brought to you by LWN Live with Nature Foundation, as well as LWN Media Productions. And this program is about influential people like Adam who are making a positive impact in their community as well as society. And gosh, with technology around the world, it's pretty cool. So I want to tell you a little bit about him. We'll bring him into the studio. I do believe that you're watching this broadcast because you do desire positive transformational change in your life. I'm going to ask you to stay with us here. If you're just tuning in, don't change the channel. We appreciate those that are watching on Facebook as well. You can certainly leave any comments or thoughts in the comment section. We'll try and address as many as we can. If you have a question for Adam, put it in the comments for us. And as well, we want to appreciate our Roku and Amazon Fire, Apple and Android viewers. You can watch this show on your smart TV. Just download the E360 TV application, and you can watch us under the live stream right now, or you can live stream, then positive vibrations. And then if you want to catch the replay at a later time when it's a little bit more convenient for you, feel free to go ahead and go back to E360. I'll get it. E360TV.com. Look us up under Positive Vibrations, the Town Hall Get to Know broadcast. So, Adam is, as a matter of fact, and we want to especially thank him for staying up so darn late. He's coming to us from the UK. So they're 5 hours ahead. So it's just after midnight now out there for him. So Adam is a survivor, and he refers to himself as a mental health warrior. He's overcome many obstacles, and he's broken through the barriers that used to hold him back. He is becoming the best version of himself that he can be. But as a child, he was verbally and physically abused. He was also bullied. He suffered, I say suffered, and we'll talk to him about this, from dyspraxia. Well, let's just say that he's learning to live with, in a much better fashion, dyspraxia, Asperger's, and PTSD survivor as well. Over the years, he's coped by using alcohol in the past to deal with the situation that he was experiencing. But he's overcome that challenge as well, and by the grace of God, he has survived. He attempted suicide. Well, now it's a little bit further back, but about 2 years ago, as I recall. And he's come such a long way, and we're so just pleased and honored and grateful to God that he is still here with us to be able to share his story about his strength and how he has overcome these obstacles and the self-limiting thinking, to be able to share that story with others. He now is the proud father of 3 beautiful children, as well as enjoying a healthy relationship with his fiancée. He's engaged to be married. And he's an advocate for change when it comes to the awareness of mental health concerns. So, without further ado, let's give Adam a very warm welcome. And Adam Duval, welcome to the town hall, Mr. Adam Duval. How are you doing this evening?
I'm okay, thank you, Stephen. Thanks for having me, especially at this time of the year.
You're very welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. We are pleased to be able to have you here tonight so that you can share your story of overcoming the odds, and then sharing that story in a transparent manner with others. Maybe you can just do a little bit and tell the viewers a little bit about you and your experiences as you were growing up.
Oh, where do I start? um, Well, it all started when I was only 3 years old. Um, Obviously, due to the dyspraxia, which obviously I'll go into shortly, this was when I'm unable to ride a bike. So my own father punched me in the face, and that's when the abuse actually started. Because obviously, dyspraxia does affect your coordination, your physical and emotional and mental um, coordination.
You now let me just interject right here. Because your father hit you and he clearly hit you very hard, that
Yeah.
caused the dyspraxia.
No, no. I was born with dyspraxia, and I was
Okay.
diagnosed with that at 18 months old. And I don't know why I was diagnosed with that. I don't know today. But at 3 years old, because my dyspraxia affects my physical coordination and my mental coordination, I was
Mhm.
unable to ride a bike.
I see.
So because I couldn't ride the bike, my own father punched me in the face because of it.
So your father, wasn't considerate about the fact, that you were a little bit challenged and clearly,
Yeah.
took it out on you in
So
a physical manner, I'm sure as well as a verbal manner too,
that's
abusing you, and so that created PTSD for you later on in life, right?
Yeah, that's right. I was diagnosed with mild depression and PTSD at the age of, well, 8 years old, as young as eight, which even I didn't know, because obviously I was never told about that. So I went all through my educational life, um, having dyspraxia, having Asperger's, having mental health, but I was never told about these. That was withheld from me until I was become an adult.
Maybe you can tell the viewers, if they're not familiar with Asperger's, about Asperger's and that condition.
Yeah, Asperger's is practically on the same spectrum to autism,
Yes.
which is obviously a neurological. Let me get the word out. A neurological disorder, which can affect your emotional well-being, psychological, and physical well-being.
Mhm. And in conjunction with the dyspraxia, that was, a situation where you didn't really feel comfortable about being around other people, isn't that correct?
That's right. I went throughout my life with very little friends, and I did not have an identity. So I was pretending to be someone who I'm not, just to try and fit in with everybody else. And that, and because I wasn't being that person on one day or the next day, I was bullied for it.
Okay, yeah, that must have been really a terrible situation to experience. I mean, I remember being bullied as a kid. I can think back to 3rd grade, and it's like, "Oh my gosh, I hope that that person isn't on my path on the way to school," thing. Not a fun situation to be in. Um, but I think you've also made a good point. You tried to fit in, right? You wanted to be accepted by other people. How
That's
does,
right. Yeah.
how did that play into, the things that you did, to be able to, get the appreciation of others? Was that your source of happiness, and that made you feel good about yourself when people then
Uh,
would say, "You're okay with me?"
It was it was actually more of a distraction
Mhm.
because I my daily routine was, and it started at 3 years old, and it happened for a good 16 years up until adulthood, where I was at home, I was being beaten by my siblings, and then I go to school, and because I tried to stay away from the bullies because if I approached them or they approached me, I get beaten up.
Mm.
So, and that was my daily routine. So I tried to stay away, and about 98% of the time, I couldn't stay away.
So, as I recall now, as you were your school years, it even got worse for you, correct?
It did, yeah, it did. And
So
my parents allowed me to be bullied.
allowed you to be bullied.
Yeah,
What
they
did they
allowed
say
you.
to you then? What were they saying about this situation? They didn't stand up for you clearly?
No, they didn't stand up for me. And how I know that, because when I was at home and my siblings were beating me there, and then my mother was just standing there and just watching it all. So that just shows it was just lack of support.
Mm, boy, I tell you. Well, the important factor is, Adam, so we met what? Is it gonna be about 3 years at this point ago? Was it
About three,
was it
4 years ago, yeah.
yeah. Was it Live Masters? Is that where we originally met? Or was it just in the writing class that we met?
It was just in the writing course.
Okay, okay, yes. So at that time, you were writing a book, and so why don't you maybe tell us a little bit about that? You're still working on that book. You haven't released it yet, but how did that make you feel to have to write that story? Because I'm very familiar with that, as you know. Um,
Yeah,
and how'd that make you feel, Adam?
writing that, like, it made me feel the exact same way where I was writing the blog for my website, and it brought tears to me every time without fail. Um, and obviously, I was doing my blog for the website just what last week, and and it still brought brings tears
Huh?
to me. It
So you
just
just
shows how traumatic this is.
did I just hear that correct? So you just did your first blog last week on your own website.
Um,
Is that what I
a
heard?
blog about me. A blog about me.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. So now you're okay with talking about your
Absolutely.
experiences, although they were traumatic as a younger
Oh yeah.
person. Yeah. What do you why do you attribute the fact that you feel okay now, particularly with the fact that you're dealing with a type of autism, which doesn't really lend itself to being even on camera and being in the public eye? How do you feel comfortable these days then doing this? What are you doing to
Great question.
overcome that? Right?
That is a great question. Um, I feel comfortable because even though my mindset has changed dramatically, as you know, Stephen, and I feel like now is the time. Say, what's the point? And bullies bully because they are not up to my standard, and clearly in a way I actually feel sorry for those bullies, because things may have gone in their lives for them to actually go ahead and do this. So I've got no negatives in my life, absolutely none. And when people try, I've got myself into that routine, because routine's critical these days, especially with mental health.
Mhm.
Where we just ignore them and forget and just move on.
So, routine, that's an important factor there. Maybe you can talk about your routine and the things that you do in that routine
So
that help you on a daily basis.
yeah, my routine. It used to be where um, I was only having one cup or a brew a day, and I was always tired. I was always tired, but now I've got myself into that routine because I've learned more about mental health, and I've even learned more about myself. I have not just one, but I have multiple cups of coffee. And if I feel down, like anxiety's kicking in, I go jump in a cold shower, which I recommend highly, because that actually really benefits, because it shocks all of you. And then within about 5 to 10 minutes, you feel like where's that anxiety gone? Because that's how much it has an impact on you. And then what you do is you meditate right after, and that's what I do.
So you use meditation to help
Or
you
breathing techniques.
and breathing techniques as well.
Yeah.
Um, I know that the breathing techniques by taking deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth is a very calming experience. It's also
Yes.
meditation, we're really looking on the inside and getting in touch and having a very, high level of, mindfulness and awareness of ourselves and our environment. Yeah, are you doing those, meditations? Are they guided meditation, or are you doing that, maybe from a video, following along in a video, or how do you do the meditation?
I do it in different ways because obviously it's all about getting better at stuff. Like it doesn't matter how perfect you are at something, you can get better, and that's what life's all about, is getting better at stuff. But when it comes to meditation, I do all kinds of methods. Sometimes I do guided, sometimes I go off video, and it's even got to the point now where I actually use spiritual crystals to help me meditate, and it works a treat.
So, yeah, I think that that's a good point that you just mentioned about how the meditation is like a spiritual experience as well.
Yes.
How does your connection to the spiritual world help you as well? Maybe you can tell the viewers. I know I'm
Yeah.
I'm not religious anymore. I'm spiritual, and how does that spiritual aspect of what you're doing make a difference for you?
Yeah, I'll tell you my experience with spiritual crystals because at first I never believed in it. And at my partner's last birthday last year, I actually tried to bring in inviting a friend round who is clued up on all these spiritual stuff. So I tried to enter that like session. So obviously she did what she did, and then obviously I was out the way, so I came downstairs, and sort of my partner is right after it. So I'm like, right, okay. So we spoke about it, and I'm like, right, okay, I'd like to go to see what all the fuss is about. So obviously, when I was led there, because we did it the next day, so I was just led there on the floor, listening to this 23-minute video. So going down these steps, and my partner's got these crystals on me in order, like what the video was saying, and it felt like I was at a concert, like where an like singer does that stage dive, and the whole crowd is carrying you. I felt like that. So I'm thinking, what's going on here? So then when it was time to open my eyes, it felt like somebody was from the other side came and held my right wrist, but held my left hand at the same time. So I feel like my grandparents came from the other side to comfort me in a way.
I'm not sure why. It sounds like you're breaking up a little bit there. I don't know whether that's just on my end or whether the viewers are having that issue as well. But that's pretty interesting. Well, the crystals have energy, don't they? Different crystals have different
They
types
do,
of
yeah.
energy. Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that meditation is a really important factor in that self care and that routine as well. Um, what I'd like to do maybe is start to talk a little bit. I mean, I've known you for a minute, so I know some things that other people don't know about you. But I remember, and I'm just going to say at this moment, folks, if you're just joining us, we really appreciate you. You can watch this episode live right now on E360 TV app on your Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple, and Android TV by downloading that E360 TV application or going to e360tv.com and under the Positive Vibrations Live, we're live right now. And then go back to e360tv.com under Positive Vibrations. You can watch the episode on the replay, but we appreciate everybody that takes time to join us. We've got Adam Duval sharing with us this evening. I've known Adam for several years, somewhere around that 3 to 4 year mark. Bottom line
Yeah.
is that I remember there was a really low spot that he was experiencing, and he has come so far, and I'm so proud of him. I want you to talk about the time where, things were really bad. You were just feeling really bad about life. You didn't
Yeah.
really want to be here with us anymore, and you literally tried to drown yourself. Tell us about that experience.
Yeah. Now, obviously, before I actually get to that day, because I still remember it like it was yesterday. Obviously, I can't say much about my daughter's case because obviously it's still ongoing. But what I can say
Right.
is I am fighting for her, and I've been fighting for almost 6 years for her because she's in the system with
Yeah.
no fault of mine. So obviously, I've received trauma from that, from the loss of my daughter,
Yes.
uh, plus the trauma what happened to me growing up. So obviously, it was just you put two and two together, and it just hits you. So it just got too much for me, and because I have experience of bottling things and keeping things to myself, because obviously I grew up keeping the abuse to myself for a good 21 years before I opened up and started talking about it. So I got quite used to keeping it quiet. So I kept the trauma to myself, and even from my partner, from my kids, stuff like that. And I thought, right, this has got to end. So I have all these different voices screaming it, saying, "It's time to go. Have, the other side's waiting for you." And I didn't know who these people were that was talking to me inside my head. And I made myself a bath, um, expecting just self care. But then I went underwater, and um, and then all I remember is somebody saying enough. I say I was under the water for a good 5-10 minutes, and and then I heard this enough, and I got pulled out of the water.
Yes. It's a very moving story.
Yeah,
Literally, you're figuring it's the end, and then the next thing you know, you're hearing this voice that's saying it's enough, and then literally you're being yanked out of the water, and you
yeah,
survive.
yeah. I describe that as the successful failure.
That's a beautiful, successful failure, Adam. I mean, I
Yeah.
know that I'm grateful for that.
Well, now I
It's
can
very
actually
that's
laugh
I
about
mean,
that.
that's huge, when you say that, because I believe that failures are a step closer to success. Um, and I was just talking about that this morning in my morning broadcast about how Thomas Edison, and I'll just share that story again. This reporter asked Thomas Edison, he says, "How does it feel to have failed 1,000 times?" And Thomas Edison replied back to him, It I didn't fail 1,000 times. It took 1,000 steps to come up and have a finished product with a light bulb.
Yeah,
So he didn't look at failure as something that was bad at all. They were the steps that he had to take to get to the end, which was having a light bulb that worked. You know?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's a
Exactly.
beautiful thing. And so when you survive this attempt to take your own life, what happened in the following days after this experience?
Um, well, it turned out that was a severe anxiety attack I experienced.
Mhm.
So it got to the point where I did neglect myself, and I
Mhm.
can say that I neglected everyone around me. Um, but obviously the mother was here to look after the kids, which is absolutely fantastic. Um, I say without her, I don't think I'd actually be pulled out of that water. I don't feel like if it weren't for my partner, we wouldn't be having this conversation today.
Okay.
Um, but but I was petrified to even come down the stairs, and I locked myself into the bedroom for a good 8 days before
Okay.
slowly started reintroducing myself to the outside world, like baby steps. Because every time I even went through to the front door, I was shaking in fear.
Okay.
But then autism awareness was coming up, so I decided I needed to set myself a challenge of 50,000 steps that month in aid of autism awareness. And obviously, I succeeded that with help of my kids and my partner.
Well, how I know that this plays a part, and you started surrounding yourself with people that were positive, because, of course, you'd experienced a lot of negativity in your life. And so, how did I guess, how did these positive people make an impact in your life and help
Um,
you uh, to better deal with your experience there? Maybe you can explain this to us, because I know that, of course, I met you after that experience happened, and then you were writing about your book. Let me just rephrase this question, okay? So, how then did writing your book initially and being around other people that were supporting you make a difference in your life?
Positivity is really good, and surrounding yourself, because growing up, I had this circle of trust and was more negative than positive people in that. But I have now found that coping mechanism or strategy, whatever you want to call it, to actually shrink that circle. And now I've only surrounded that circle with just positive people.
Mhm.
And obviously, like I said, I don't think I would have been able to do this alone. So, surrounding myself with positive people, yeah,
Well, you
I
you
believe,
also did other things because you're a certified coach now, if I'm not
yes,
correct, right? So you
yes.
started doing some studying because and what I'd like to you before you talk about the fact that what I'd like to do actually here is we'll take a quick break and acknowledge our sponsors. But we're going to be talking about the things that then you did, um, that made that difference in your life, that epiphany moment where you decided, I'm going to start studying, I'm going to start being a coach, I want to help other people. So we're going to talk about that in just a minute. Please stay with us, folks, and we'll be right back.
We let our bathtub go too long. It had rust in it, it had deep pitting in it, there were chips. I, quite frankly, thought it was unrepairable.
Total Coatings is a family-owned and operated bathtub and shower refinishing company. We've been around since 2006, but we use a exclusive non-toxic porcelain coating that was developed over 60 years ago by a franchise in California. So the product is very well established. We refinish bathtubs, showers, wall tile, countertops, and even sinks. Customers want to know what makes our product different, and that's, of course, the exclusive non-toxic porcelain. We also don't acid etch the surface, so you don't have to leave your home because of noxious fumes.
I was completely and utterly shocked. It looked like a brand new bathtub. I would recommend Total Coatings to anybody.
to thank our sponsors, Sarasota Architectural Salvage. They've got some wonderful stuff. They've got 2 locations down in downtown Sarasota, as well as out in University Park, and as well, Cool Today, who can take care of all of your air conditioning, your heating, your solar, plumbing, and electrical needs. Uh, for a cool today, because it's warm in Florida, give them a ring, as well as Total Coatings. So they can refinish your bathtub and make it like brand new. Make sure that if you give them a ring, you say that you saw that here. We want them to know that we're sending them some potential customers. Of course, we appreciate them. They're great companies. The only reason we're involved with them is because they are a company with integrity, quality, and of course, customer service is super important. And that is their main goal, is to take care of the customer and make sure that you're happy. Now, we've been talking with Adam Duval this evening. Adam is coming to us from the UK. It's way past midnight now, and we appreciate the fact that he's staying up really late for us. Adam, I've known for several years. He is a mental health warrior. We're going to start talking about the mental health warrior aspect. He's been through a tremendous amount of abuse, physically, mentally, verbally, as well as diagnosed with dyspraxia and Asperger's. And he, as a result, had PTSD because of the traumatic childhood that he lived, but he's overcome a lot of obstacles in his life, as well as an attempted suicide, and come back to be able to be strong, confident, and want to share this message with others to let them know that there's hope and that you can overcome this stuff and go on to live as functional a life as we can possibly can with what we've got, right? So we're going to talk. Go ahead. Let's bring Adam back in. And Adam, we were talking about the point where you made this transition. You decided to want to start to help other people. Maybe you can tell us about your experience with that, and then what you're doing now to be able to be a coach. You did some studying. You got some certifications. Can you tell the viewers about that part?
Yeah, well, I actually became a mental health first aider. That was my first qualification, and that was actually March 2019, uh, which obviously that was 2 weeks before I actually attempted suicide.
Ah, yeah.
Um, yeah, so even
Okay.
though I had those skills, I still had those challenges myself.
Well, we can have challenges every day, can't we, Adam?
Of course, of course.
Right,
You can just never predict when any sort of mental health's gonna hit you. You can't predict it.
right. So you got certification, but there was a point here where you decided to get a little bit more serious about this. And
Yeah,
that you were going to create a group, and that you were going to start talking, and then you also do interviews of other people that where they're sharing their story as well. So what was the epiphany when you said, hey, boom, okay, we're changing this picture now, and I'm going to really go transparent and start sharing this in a bigger way?
it was actually my family that gave me that, and even myself gave me a bit of a reality check because one day I was just sat there playing on my phone, playing games, and my kids were just across from me, and they looked really bored. So I thought I need to do something with my life. So I put the phone down and I just thought, right, we need to do something as a family because we can't just sit here, do nothing, be bored and miserable for the rest of our lives. We've got to make memories. So that's when I actually booked myself onto a course, and which was online, funded by myself. I paid for that myself, where I
Mhm.
became a level 2 coach, and And I've never looked back.
Well, you've come such a long ways. So you decided that, hey, I'm going to start helping other people. Um, how does that make you feel, Adam?
Alive. That's all I
Is
can
this
say. Alive.
is it, did you find that this is your purpose now? This is what you really want to do, and this is like your life journey now at this point in time?
If you actually told me about 3 years ago, you're going to become the mental health warrior, you're going to coach people, and you're going to transform people's lives, I wouldn't have believed you. I wouldn't. But I'm living the dream now. And why I'm
Yes.
saying dream, because obviously for all the viewers, um, I've learned to say if you dream small, if you dream in small and you wake up, go back to sleep because you're not dreaming big enough.
So big dreams are important, and I agree with
Absolutely.
that. Because I believe, well, I put it like this, in an infinite universe, there's infinite possibilities. So if we just put our mind to it and start with that desire and that intention, then we do have the ability to achieve anything. But boy, it takes a lot of work, doesn't it, Adam?
It does. It does. I feel
How
like
Go
I've
ahead.
pumped blood, sweat, and tears into what I do today.
Yeah. Yeah, it does take a lot of work. It takes consistency too as well. And like we talked about earlier, we can have moments that are challenging. Now, how do you get through these moments now? Oh, I know that you talked earlier about doing some meditation and stuff like this, but what's the first thing that you do when you can sense that maybe you're getting an anxiety attack? What would you do next?
Definitely talk to someone. Definitely
Talk.
reach out. If you haven't got that strategy or that system in place where you self care, talk to someone. Like if it's the NHS, a therapist, a friend, or even someone that is going through mental health themselves and knows what they're talking about. Reach out.
It makes more sense. I know for myself, I experienced that in my recovery days, about how when I was talking with someone that had kind of been there and done that, how that just seemed to have more credibility than somebody that hadn't been there and done that. Do you feel that um, it's like part of maybe a person's life journey to overcome the trauma and the painful stuff and then carry that message to somebody else? Do you see that as something that's really a part of the way life should be?
I don't believe anyone can beat mental health. Mental health, if I believe, even if people don't admit it, we have all got some sort of mental health challenge within us. And it's all the main aim is to actually find that. And obviously, what I was just saying on my previous podcast earlier today, like if you come across someone that is experiencing depression, shall I say, depression,
Okay.
all you have to do, and because we all know that depression is the most unspeakable thing ever. It doesn't get spoken about enough. But if you actually write the word depression on a piece of paper and rejumble all the letters into a statement, it'll clearly say, "I pressed on,"
I press
and
on.
and that sticks with me every single day.
Okay. So it's about managing these mental health issues that we might have.
Yes, taking back control. Yeah,
Yes, right. So if it's about control and it's about managing, it's about mindset, wouldn't it be?
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So what does a person do then from a mindset or mindfulness aspect to cope with things like dyspraxia, things like Asperger's or autism? What are some of the
Um,
probably the best tips that you would suggest to a person to be able to manage this better?
I would definitely say to manage to more understand whatever disability is, whether it's autism, ADHD, dyspraxia, dyslexia, anything. There's Facebook groups out there. Get yourself in them. They are the most non-judgmental people ever, and the most supportive people you can come across. I've learned so much myself. I've even bought books off Amazon for me to learn about all
Mhm,
this,
mhm.
and and this is what I do now. I help people.
Makes you feel good, doesn't it, Adam?
Yeah, yeah, and to actually think about it, I've actually during lockdown, I've actually gained a qualification in understanding autism.
Well, and we have some mutual friends that deal with autism as well as Asperger's. Um, and
Yes,
I'm thinking like Christopher Kaysen is one of them, who's been on the show. Um, what are some of the self-care activities that you would do to take your mind off of things that might be, creating anxiety or depression or even thoughts potentially of suicide type stuff? What type of things are you doing?
definitely, um, definitely introduce you to nature. Definitely introduce yourself because obviously I know we're talking last year now. Um, I was down and I wasn't suicidal, but I was just down.
Yeah,
And I thought it was a beautiful sunny day. So I said to my family, we're going to go for a walk.
right.
So obviously we walked into nature, um, and I did a few Facebook lives there. And by the time I walked up, which was I say about 3 miles, and then 3 miles back, I felt pretty good.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
amazing how healing getting out into nature is, isn't it? Well, there's
Oh
another
yeah,
thing I
nature
know.
definitely helps.
There's another thing I
Nature.
know about you. You like being in the garden, don't you?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
How is that garden coming along, Adam?
I haven't done it.
You haven't done it lately. You've been too
We've had
busy
bad
helping
weather.
people.
We've had bad weather. Like
Oh,
we're in a
well,
storm right now. We're in a storm right now.
are you?
Yeah, it's raining really bad. Strong winds.
I'm not gonna try and be cruel here, but doesn't it always rain in England? I mean, that's
Yes,
what these Americans think. It's like, "Oh, it's raining all the time and cloudy."
it does. This is why nobody wants to come here.
But that's okay. It's so
Yeah.
beautiful over there. I tell you, I look forward to the opportunity one of these days. One of these days, I will get over there, and we are gonna meet, face to face. I'm gonna look forward to that,
Oh
Adam.
yes.
I promise you. Um,
Yeah.
that's exciting because I know that, it is on my bucket list and dream list and goal list to, take what we're doing with the LWN Live with Nature Foundation and be reaching people. Well, we already reach people over there, but the thing is that maybe to have one of these locations that are these bridge properties to be able to help people that are homeless or addicted to drugs and stuff. And so hopefully when I get to that point, I'll be able. That gives me a darn good excuse to get on a plane and come on over and see you. And hopefully by then COVID's over. Maybe we'll digress just a half a second here, but tell us about COVID. Okay. You mentioned it earlier. That gave you an opportunity to be able to do some more studying. What's going on in Europe right now with respect to COVID? Are you guys still shut down?
Um, schools are back open.
Okay.
Schools are back open. We're still in some sort of a lockdown, and we are looking to be out of lockdown, but I'm not getting my hopes up. I'm really not. But we've been informed that we could be out of full lockdown by the 21st of June.
Of June. Okay. Okay.
It's quite a
So
bit away.
most is it down to essential services then over there? Is that the thing?
I don't know. I don't listen to the news.
Good for you.
I don't.
Good for you. That's an important factor because I stopped really watching the news a lot. I mean, I'll catch it up, and it's not like I don't get news. I do get news. I mean, I get it right to my email from a lot of different sources. But I'm a headline reader too, as well, because of the timing issue. Um, well, that's good. So this has created an opportunity for you to get some more things done, and as well, this is where the beauty of technology comes in. You created things like a Facebook group that's a support group for people that have mental health concerns. Maybe you could talk a
Yes.
little bit about that as well. What are you doing with this Facebook group?
Um. Well, going back to COVID, as I admit, because we've been at this for a little over a year now, I said the first 2 weeks were the most hardest 2 weeks ever because I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know how long we was going to be in lockdown for. But after that, I kept myself busy.
Mm.
And as people know, I have been a hell of a lot busier with my Facebook group, which is the Warriors of Mental Health. Obviously, my YouTube channel, which obviously I had the pleasure of interviewing Stephen Smith last week onto it,
Yeah,
which was
thank you.
fantastic.
That was awesome. Thank you so very much.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome.
Um, it popped into my head. I've got to ask. And I hadn't thought about him for a moment, but have you talked with Richard lately?
Richard Fair.
Yes.
I've not spoken to him for about a week, but
Okay.
I'm due a catch up with him. I have actually booked him in for a podcast as well. So yeah,
Okay.
for
He's doing
Autism
good.
Awareness Month.
He's doing good.
Yeah, he's doing good. Yeah.
Excellent. 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 He's another example, folks, of being able to overcome um, stigmas of autism. And is he still doing lives, broadcasts and stuff like that too?
I don't know. I
Oh,
don't know.
okay. Well, you're going to get to know him again then, sounds like really soon. And that's what we're doing tonight, folks, is we're getting to know Adam a little bit better. You know, he's a real survivor is what he is. And to me, a real asset to community. He's taken it upon himself to create a group, to have a website, to be there for people. He's actually a certified coach, as well as can you repeat that statement again? I'm trying to remember. First aider,
Yeah.
mental health first aider.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now actually you go by mental health warrior. Tell us about what does a mental health warrior mean to you?
You know, you're the second person to actually ask for that.
Okay.
Yeah. The mental health warrior, what it means to me
Yes.
is the exact same to what it means to everybody else. We are all warriors of our own mental health. Why I say that? Because we can take control of anything if we actually put our minds to it. Now, what I've went through with all that traumatic history I've had, it's made me somebody who I actually want to be today. And I'm grateful to actually be here today to share my story. There's a lot of people that actually want to hear this story. I should get a book out there, but
They're
time.
sleeping right
That's
now.
all I got. That's the only excuse I've got is time.
You'll get to sleep after.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Um,
So you're literally because you are an advocate for mental health.
yeah.
And so you're even more than just an advocate, you are a warrior now. And so
Oh, yeah.
you're taking this on the front lines to be able to let people know that, we need to set aside the stereotypes, set aside the fact that maybe that there was a lot of bullying and abuse that took place, but that there is an opportunity to be able to overcome and manage as best we can with what we have these mental health concerns. And
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
we've just got a few more minutes left here, Adam. I'd love for you to just share some final thoughts with the viewers and give them a quick outline of what they should do if they're wanting to try and improve the quality of their life. What are the things that you're doing, and what would you recommend then for them to do to start enjoying their everyday life?
Definitely. If you feel down, depressed, isolated, loneliness, or even you're grieving, always reach out, because there is always, when there's a will, there's a way, and there's always a way around stuff. So with our help, we can actually help to transform your life for the better. We're all warriors. You're the warrior, I'm the warrior, and speaking out will be the best thing you ever did with your life.
So actually sharing it with another person, and I do know that that is a healing experience. When you share your story, you're willing to share some of these very deep, dark secrets that we might be having with others,
Exactly, exactly.
and
Because
and I
sharing
want
it, yeah, because
everybody to
sharing.
know. Go
Go on,
ahead.
Stephen.
Okay, I was just gonna say, I know where you're coming from to some degree, maybe not to the same degree, but a different degree, because I was diagnosed with depression. I've been diagnosed with mild bipolar, and I was medicating with alcohol and drugs. And so I know what like living in a world where I really didn't want to live in anymore is like. And so what I want to say is that there is hope, no matter how hopeless things might seem. There's people like Adam out there and myself that are willing to extend our hand to help you, because between the two of us, we know a lot of people that can help you, whether they're professional, doctors, or holistic aspect. I love the holistic aspect, the mind, body, soul, because I think it's all connected and it's all part of this recovery process. So if people were wanting to get a hold of you, Adam, how would they do that?
They can get in touch with me via Facebook. They can get in touch with me via YouTube, which is Adam Duval. They can get a hold of me via my website, which is www.mentalhealthwarrior.org.uk. I'm on LinkedIn as Adam Duval. I'm just on every platform. I'm on Instagram, Mental Health Warrior. I'm on Twitter, MH Warrior. I'm just everywhere. You won't
You're
miss me.
you are the mental health warrior, Adam. I
Yes,
really
thank you.
appreciate Yeah, you're welcome. I really appreciate the fact, that you were here this evening, that you were able to share this story and your strength with the others, that might be suffering with mental health concerns. We appreciate you very much, and, we look forward to, having you back too as well. We'll do that in the future. We'd love for you to share your progress with us in the future. Folks, we know that there are difficult situations that we experience every day, that when we put our mind to it, like Adam said, that if we do a healthy routine, things like meditation, things like taking a walk in nature, reaching out, asking for help, and that truly is a sign of strength when a person asks for help, that you can in fact, um, get the support that you need. There's people like Adam here, as well as myself, that are willing to do whatever we can to help you enjoy your everyday life. We appreciate you. Remember to come and join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the town hall get to know and meet people like Adam who are making a positive impact in their communities. Watch us on E360 TV app on your smart TVs, Apple, Android, Amazon Fire, Roku. You can check us out. You can also go to our website, the lwnfoundation.org. We've got a live stream tab there. There's all the previous episodes. We appreciate you. God bless you, Adam. Thank you for staying up. You're so awesome.
Hey, persistence. That's all I've got to say.
Persistence and consistency. God bless you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and come back. We'll see you soon. Have a wonderful weekend. And gosh, God bless you. See you soon.